And we're back with Cindy Frasier, who works at Clark-Lindsey as the home support coordinator. And Cindy, we're talking a little bit about as adults age. I can imagine that you find, as you work with those who are living independently, that, you know, after a while, things become more difficult for them to do on their own.
It's definitely the case. And oftentimes, that has to do with increasing health conditions, change in health status, where, you know, often as we get older, we have multiple comorbidities and multiple chronic diseases. And so it becomes more challenging to manage all of that. If we have diabetes and we're now needing to check blood sugars more frequently or have insulin shots or need oxygen because of lung disease. Another big issue is vision problems that make it a little bit harder to just manage as independently. And mobility problems are a big challenge for people as joints have more pain. Maybe it's more difficult going up and down stairs. If someone's living in their home and has the laundry room on the first floor and the bedroom on the second floor, it's a lot harder. And memory issues are a big part that contribute to people having more difficulty and needing more help in their home. There's great home care services that are available for people and can make a big difference along with family support in helping people find a way to, you know, stay there as long as they can. But often we get to a point where they really need to be looking at more of an assisted living or a memory care kind of senior living center.
What are some indications that that might be the appropriate next step?
Yeah. Often the declining health is a big part where maybe they're going to be needing more nursing care or they're going to be needing more attention that way. When it's difficult to comply with medical treatments, when you have had multiple hospitalizations that are partly related to not managing your medications well and all, or frequent falls. When someone is needing increased assistance from family or caregivers, they may be losing weight, they maybe have spoiling food in the refrigerator, or have, they're showing poor personal hygiene, lack of energy, just not feeling overwhelmed, not being able to manage things. Signs of cognitive decline are a big one, where they aren't having good judgment about things, their memory issues are a problem that becomes more serious, may leave something on the stove. And a lot of times people won't have much insight into their impairment or into their level of need when they're having memory problems. So that's a real challenge and can get into more safety concerns where the family members are having to really look at how safe is mom or dad, or how safe is my spouse living here. People who might be going out on a walk and not putting on adequate clothing for the cold weather, or deciding they need to clean the gutters and climbing up on a ladder. And wandering is a big issue at night, especially for someone with memory problems, that just becomes incredibly difficult for the family there. And sometimes people won't accept home assistance, and they just are struggling with that. So then the burden and the challenge becomes really great on the family caregivers to help keep them safe in their home. And especially when it gets to the point where people aren't getting enough sleep, they just don't have energy to manage all that's going on.
And this can be a very sensitive time, so something you really tell people is that you want them to plan ahead, have these conversations early, have these conversations, go ahead and prepare advance directives so family members know what their wishes are and kind of how to move forward. What do you usually see after a person moves into an assisted living or supportive living environment?
You know, the good part is I usually see that the transition is tough, making the decision to go is tough. But once they get there, people seem to have much less stress, are a little more relieved. Some of those everyday pressures are off of them. And the family caregivers, when they see their loved one doing okay, they get more sleep, they feel more rested, and both parties end up having less pressure and anxiety as they are able to adjust and develop new routines and new patterns.
Yeah, and sometimes I think, as family, we want to jump in and help, but it can also be a little bit too much at some point for caregivers.
Yeah, and it's fun to see your loved one getting involved in other things that they feel less isolated, they're not so withdrawn, they have activities that they may be able to more easily participate in. So it usually has a pretty positive outcome, but definitely it's a challenge going through it, and I encourage people always to have a good supportive network to help you with making those decisions.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much for joining us.